but don't quit. Make decisions to be better every day.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have Jonathan with us, which is the founder of Breathing Low. So Jonathan, tell us, what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
I tell you what, the 5 steps, it's funny you told me just to write this down. I had to do it. The first thing I think you need to do is you need to get educated in a subject matter that would allow you to provide a service to the public and answer a need that the public has, right? To get money from the public, you have to be able to give them value. So in my situation, I went to law school and I got an undergraduate degree from NC State University, and I went to law school at Campbell Law School in Booths Creek, North Carolina. And now, I've started my own practice outside. I'm in the suburbs of Raleigh, North Carolina now, and we primarily do family law. But the first thing I had to do was get an education and get a license that would allow me to provide the service. Now, you don't have to have a license to provide service, but if you want to be a lawyer, you have to be licensed by your state. So the first thing you got to do is get educated in something, learn a skill, learn a trade, learn something that would allow you to provide a service to the public that they will pay you money for. The second thing I think you need to do is, once you've identified, what you think the public needs and you've developed the skill. And look, you don't have to go to school. You don't have a degree. YouTube is the greatest teacher of all time. You can learn to do anything in this world on YouTube. I mean, anything you want to learn, it's right there, and it's absolutely free. The best teachers and speakers in the world are on YouTube, and they have tons of videos for you that you can watch and learn. Anything you want to learn is on YouTube. You don't have to go to class. You can sit there and just watch YouTube videos and teach yourself. So the fact that the availability of education and information is unlimited now in this world, and there's no excuse for not gaining a skill or educating yourself. The second thing you do once you picked out the area is you need a geographic area that you're going to serve. Now, if you're providing professional services like a law firm or a CPA or that or a cleaning company, and you're going to physically meet with people, like I do, we go to court every day. You need to pick out a geographic area that could use your services. You should look at who the competition is in that area. You should see whether that area is growing. One of the greatest decisions I ever made was not to go back to my hometown of Laurinburg, North Carolina, on the North Carolina-South Carolina line, not far from south of the border on I-95. If you've been down I-95, you've seen the Mexican-themed amusement park there. I grew up not far from there. That's an impoverished area of the world. It was not growing. It was losing people. It's continuing to lose people. NAFTA absolutely destroyed the economy of that area of North and South Carolina because all the jobs went to Mexico. And that's not a bad thing. That's a whole nother speech about do things better, and we can talk about economics, whatever. But it did destroy that area. And the number one decision I made as far as being able to make $1 million was I didn't go home. I had a job offer that I didn't apply for when I passed the bar. And I decided to stick with my plan of being in the Raleigh area. Raleigh, North Carolina in 2000, when I came out of law school, was really starting to explode. It is still the fastest growing area in America, or the top 2 or 3. Raleigh, Austin, Texas, Minneapolis, Minnesota. You throw them in a bucket. Colorado Springs, Colorado. You throw them in a bucket. Pick on who you want it. It's the number 1 place to live in America, depending on which magazine. Like I said, we sort of get in these competitions, but Raleigh, North Carolina is never going to be outside the top 5 of anything when it comes to business climate, places to live, places to raise a family. It's just awesome. It truly is a great place as well. So I chose to come here. I'd gone to NC State, which is in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a big Wolfpack fan. I know we're struggling in basketball this year, but we did go to the Final Four last year. But but I went to an area that was growing, and I didn't go into the city, right? I came to the suburbs because the suburbs were underserved and the city was overserved. And the suburbs are still underserved today. And in most metropolitan areas around the country, there are enough providers of professional services in the cities, and there's not enough in the suburbs. So one thing is go to the suburbs. That's what I did. This is still considered a legal desert out here in the suburbs. There's still less than one lawyer for every 1,000 people in our area. And it's that way for like 80 of the 100 counties in North Carolina. So if you're in an area where there's not enough providers, you can almost not help yourself and make money. So that was the second thing I did. The third thing I did was I came up with some plan to try to market. And the internet was a new thing back in 2000. Harry, I mean, you're kind of getting old. I'm kind of old. It was a new thing.
Absolutely.
Yes, it was, but it was a new thing. And I know a lot of
Oh
people
my God,
say,
tell
a
me
new
about
thing.
it.
Like, right, like it was a brand new thing. And I was one of the first people to ever in my market have a website. and
Wow.
and I also,
Really?
of course, when I first started, I bought a small Yellow Page ad, not in the main Yellow Pages, but in the suburbs Yellow Pages, which cost a tenth of what the main Raleigh Yellow Pages costed, right? And then I got very involved in my community, which I still do today because that's free. Chamber of Commerce. I was in the Civitan. I was in the Little League. I was on the board of the Little League. I am still very involved in the community. I'm still involved with Backpack Buddies and the local domestic violence shelter and all of these organizations I'm involved with. Even now, I was on the Little League board for 9 years. That stuff, nonprofits, they all need it. And that's a way for you to give back to your community and meet people in a situation where you're not selling to them, right? They get to know Jonathan Breeden as the Little League board member, and we're providing Little League for baseball and basketball and these kids and stuff like that. But then when their marriage didn't go well, they're like, well, I know this guy. I trust this guy. We've been together. I've watched him paint dugouts with me, and then they come hire you to do their case, or they tell their friends about you, right? They become referral sources. And I didn't spend a dime on any of that, right? That was just being in the community. Now I'm sponsor every Little League team I can find. My logo is on the football field of the local high school. I mean, I'm in the suburbs, and we're an unincorporated boom intersection. And I'm sure a lot of the listeners live at boom intersections. And so I'm the mayor of this intersection. We're not a town. We're just a boom intersection, right? And I primarily live in Johnston, work in Johnston County, which is one of the suburb counties of Raleigh to the southeast. It is where I-95 and I-40 meet, which is the two biggest interstates in America. So if you've ever been where they've met, you've been about 15 miles from my house and my office. And so that creates a lot of commerce. There's a lot of growth here because of Raleigh. So more and more people keep coming. That's more and more families get divorced, more and more work for Jonathan Breeden to do. So that was the third thing was come up with a plan to market now. Google My Business, absolutely free. Make a Google My Business listing. Blogging onto your Google My Business listing is free. A simple website you can teach yourself on YouTube in an hour is basically free. These are things that you can do to get your message out, your word out, that you exist, that don't cost anything. Now, of course, I now do local service ads and pay-per-click, and I got marketing agencies that blog and all this stuff. But I'm just talking about anybody can do this basic stuff. The fourth thing I did was and when I started, I didn't do as good a job of this as I do now. You have to charge a good fee. Don't be the cheapest. Don't race to the bottom. Know what your overhead is. Keep your overhead as low as possible when you're early on, but charge a fee that allows you to make a living. If you're not charging enough, then you're working and going backwards. And you don't want to be the cheapest. That's a loser game. You charge what you want to charge. You charge what you need to charge. And most people are not going to call multiple places. If they know, like, and trust you, if they bought into whatever brand you've created, then they're going to pay whatever.
Absolutely. You're right, 100%.
And I am now the most expensive attorney in my two suburb counties.
Look at you and look how proudly you share this, yeah?
Yeah, no, right. And
that's because you're the best
right?
then. Yeah.
No, but I did start doing that when I hired a coach, and of course the coach had all these surveys of what attorneys should charge around the country, right? And he was like, "You're way undercharging," and so he's like, "Raise your fees," and I'm like, "I can't. Nobody will hire me." And you know what?
Wow.
I raised my fees 6 times in 4 years, and I get more and more hires. I'm going to have the biggest month ever,
I
and I'm the
believe
most
you.
expensive.
I believe you.
And so that's the thing. And I'm competing against people who don't charge the right fee, that don't have the staff, they can't compete with
Absolutely.
me because they can't provide the level of service I can provide because they don't have any help because they didn't charge the right fee to start with, Harry.
100%. 100%. And then Jonathan, let's talk about this because you made my day today. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Any,
the fifth thing, you said
yes.
5, don't quit. Don't
Right.
quit. You don't lose if you don't quit. That's the fifth thing. I didn't quit. And we could spend hours of me crying myself to sleep when all my staff quit and I had to start over. But don't quit. Make decisions to be better every day. One decision to better yourself every day will help you do this. And you got to expand your time horizon, right, Harry? Everybody's like, I want to make $1 million in a year. You know, it took me 20 years to make $1 million, but it didn't take
Absolutely.
me but 18 months to make 2,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I believe
So,
you
I mean,
100%.
right. So
What
that's the
changed?
thing, right? Right. So
Yeah.
it's flywheels and all that stuff.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.